Yeah, so talking about President Mills, um, and so people thought that he was going to be the everyday African politician. But he campaigned on four main pillars or pivots to win the mandate of Ghanaians. The first one, or the general theme, was to build a better Ghana. Now, under the umbrella of building a better Ghana, then we had investing in people, that is human capital development, infrastructure expansion, talking about roads, hospitals, and schools, building a strong and resilient economy. And so with the help of Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufo, the governor at the time, Pakwesi, and Mr. Arthur, the president's own economic advisory team, as I said, not the statutory management team that was chaired by the vice president. This is the advisory team the president himself chaired, made up of peers and colleagues and friends who had run economies, both Ghana internationally. And so building a strong and resilient economy. So you had all the powerful indicators, a stable currency, 34 months single digit inflation. We had upped public sector wages, but exponentially, single spine, but yet we were still defraying arrears on the books that we had inherited because governance is a continuum. All these, and then the last leg was changing the face of governance. Governing in an open, honest, transparent manner. Investing in people, infrastructure expansion, building a strong and resilient economy, and governing in an open, honest, transparent manner. And it's an open and honest, transparent manner where you fit in the Father for all. And the fact that he really desired to change the face of African politics. So for him, power was not meant to hit at political opponents. And so I recall when he became president, and there was a clamor from a certain section of the NDC to go after former Kufuor appointees purely for vengeance, because 2001, when President Kufuor became president, a few things happened. Not too interesting. Of course, President Mills personally suffered it. You know, where his house was virtually ransacked. He was on sabbatical in Canada, and a few things happened, and so people thought that once power had come, he should hit back, and he just will not budge. Because as God-fearing as he wasn't going to go on a vengeance spree. And he kept telling us that he didn't go to the people of Ghana to give him the mandate to seek revenge or to go on a vengeance spree. And many instances, you know, when people thought they could get him to do the unthinkable, so some of the anger against him was because people could not manipulate him and get him to do their bidding. But for him, he was interested in God blessing this homeland Ghana and making this nation great and strong. That was it. Leave vengeance to God. And there was a particular instance, and it was public knowledge, so I can put it out. When some people thought that he should go after Chief Justice Georgina Wood, and she happened to be the first female Chief Justice, and she was appointed by President Kufuor. President Mills refused. I mean, what people don't know is that having lectured and taught in so many institutions, public service for so many years, a sportsman, he had built a wide nexus of deep, detailed, and refined relationships over the years. And so for him, people didn't know that Mrs. Georgina Wood and President Mills were part of Ghana's hockey fraternity for decades, because she also apparently was a very good hockey player when she was much, much younger. That's Georgina Wood. And so the president didn't see why he should just go after her for no apparent reason. Just because Kufuor appointed her. He wasn't going to do that. And so that was where the Team B and his slow started coming from, because people just thought that he should exact his pound of flesh, but he wasn't going to do that. And of course, following in a certain tradition, Rawlings had begun women empowerment through Mrs. Konedu Agyeman Rawlings, 31st December Women's Movement, the Beijing Conference, the interstate, succession law, PNDC law 111. Nobody can take those things away from President Rawlings, Nana Konedu Agyeman Rawlings, the PNDC, NDC. President Kufuor came, also did his bit of women empowerment. And of course, Mrs. Georgina Wood is one solid example of the Kufuor administration in terms of appointing a woman as the first Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. President Mills came, continued. He appointed Joyce Bamford Addo as the first female speaker. One, Madam Mrs. Bridget Katriku, was the first female head of the Public Services Commission. He appointed the first female Attorney General in the person of Mrs. Betty Mould Idrisu. Many more. In fact, Charlotte Osei was one of President Mills' appointments as the first female head of the National Commission for Civic Education. If you ask me, the NCC should be one of the most important institutions in this republic in terms of national development and civic education. And when Kwame Nkrumah set it up, that was the vision Nkrumah had for the NCC. Of course, people also don't remember that President Mills appointed the first female acting Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service, Mrs. Mills Robertson. Yeah. When President Mills came, she was the first to act as IGP until she was reappointed to go and represent Ghana in Sierra Leone as Ghana's High Commissioner. And Commissioner Paul Tewiakwe took over as the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service. And many more, in terms of changing the face of governance. Of course, in terms of infrastructure expansion, 2 public universities in record 3.5 years, the University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho, the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani, Brongahafo. And I'd even begun working on the university in the Eastern region with a campus in Somanya and another one in Donkokrum in the Afram Plains region of Ghana. In terms of the health infrastructure, the new hospital at Legon is a living testimony of President Mills's, contribution to the health sector. Many more health assistant training schools. In fact, the University of Health and Allied Sciences actually, and the name speaks for itself. That's the extent to which President Mills invested heavily in the health sector of the Republic.